My name is Vreth-Kaal. I am a warrior of the Sarati Empire. I have fought in 43 campaigns across 9 star systems. I have watched suns collapse and colonies burn. I have never, not once in my entire military career, been afraid of anything. Until the day I met a human marine called Kofi. Let me paint you a picture of that moment, because I think you deserve to understand the full humiliation of it. There I was, 7 feet tall, 460 pounds of scaled muscle, twin blades drawn, standing in the wreckage of what used to be Forward Station Vreth-Kaal. My squad was behind me. 8 elite Sarati warriors, each one decorated, each one a proven killer. We had taken the station in 11 minutes. 11 minutes, my friends. The humans defending it? They were supposed to be dead, or running, or at the very least, hiding behind something and crying. They were not. Instead, from somewhere in the smoking ruin of the eastern corridor, we heard a voice. A single human voice, calm as a still pond, absolutely unbothered, singing something. Not a war chant. Not a prayer to whatever gods humans bother with. He was singing something with the words, "I've got sunshine, on a cloudy day." My second, Drovok, turned to me and whispered, "Is he, mocking us?" I did not answer. Honestly, I did not know. We moved down the corridor. Carefully. Because here is the thing about Sarati warriors that most species understand immediately, we are professionals. We do not rush into smoke. We do not charge blindly. We are methodical, we are lethal, and we have earned every single one of those 43 campaign ribbons. Then Kofi stepped out of the smoke. He was not particularly large for a human. Average height. A jaw that looked like it had been cut from stone by someone who was angry about it. His armor was scorched across the left shoulder. There was blood on his right boot, though from the way he moved, none of it appeared to be his. He had a rifle resting across his shoulders, both arms draped over it casually, like a farmer carrying a yoke. He looked at all 9 of us, and he smiled. Not a nervous smile. Not a defiant smile. A genuinely, deeply, almost offensively relaxed smile. "Oh, hey," he said. "You guys are the second wave, huh? Took you long enough. I want you to understand the silence that followed those words." Even the fire stopped crackling for a moment. The universe itself seemed to need a second. Drovok leaned toward me again. "He is mocking us." "Drovok," I said quietly, "I know." What I did not know was where the other humans were. Kofi's entire fire team had been listed in our intelligence report as 12 personnel. We found 4 of them later, incapacitated, holding defensive positions they had apparently refused to abandon while wounded. We found evidence of 3 more in the northern access tunnel, where a section of ceiling had mysteriously collapsed onto our advanced scouts. Mysteriously, I say, except it was not mysterious at all, was it? Someone had blown the supports on purpose. The remaining 5? We never found them during the station fight. We found out later they had slipped behind our lines and were, at that exact moment, having a very productive conversation with the fuel cells of our landing craft. But none of that was what unnerved me most. What unnerved me most was that Kofi was still smiling. "You know," he said, tilting his head slightly, studying us with those flat, forward-facing predator eyes humans have, most people, when they come to a fight this far into a losing position, they at least look a little worried. He paused. "Are you worried?" "We are not losing," I told him. Because we were not. Statistically. We had the numbers, we had the position, we had cut off their reinforcements. We were objectively winning. "Sure," he said, in a tone that meant the exact opposite. I raised my blade. My squad raised their weapons. 8 against 1. Clean, logical, finished. Kofi reached up slowly and tapped something on his helmet. A small light blinked green. "All right," Sergeant Yeva, he said, addressing someone who was clearly not in the room. They're all in the corridor. Do what you want. The ceiling came down. Not all of it. Just enough. Enough to scatter my squad like seeds in a storm, enough to fill the corridor with dust and chaos, enough for Kofi to be, somehow, on my side of the collapse, standing 3 feet away from me, looking at me with that same insufferable smile. Now, he said pleasantly, we've got a few minutes before my squad clears that rubble. So let me ask you something, big guy. I was on one knee. My blade was still in my hand. My pride was, somewhere under the ceiling. What? I said, through my teeth. He crouched down to my eye level, absolutely unafraid, and said, how much do you actually know about us? How much do you actually know about us? The question hung in the dust-thick air between us like a grenade with the pin already pulled. I did not answer immediately. Partly because my ribs hurt. Partly because 3 of my squad were groaning somewhere behind a wall of collapsed ceiling. Mostly, though, because the honest answer was embarrassing. I knew the standard Sarati intelligence briefing on humans. 42 pages. I had read it twice. Bipedal, oxygen-dependent, short-lived by galactic standards, emotionally unstable, prone to irrational decisions under pressure. Threat classification, moderate. Recommended engagement ratio, 3 Sarati per 1 human combatant to ensure favorable outcome. Someone had written that briefing, and I was now very curious whether that someone had ever actually met a human, or had simply read about them from a very safe distance. Kofi was still crouching in front of me. He pulled a small wrapped object from a chest pocket, unfolded it, and put something in his mouth. He chewed. Calmly. Like we were sitting in a rest hall somewhere having a perfectly normal afternoon. Is that food? I asked. I do not know why I asked that. My brain was apparently making its own decisions. Energy bar, he said. Peanut butter. You want some? I want you to explain the ceiling, I said. He glanced upward, then back at me. Sergeant Yeva. She's been in the ventilation system since about 4 minutes after you landed. She mapped every structural weak point in this station before your boots even touched the floor. He paused. She's thorough like that. She was in the ventilation system, I repeated. For about 40 minutes, yeah. I thought about that. 40 minutes. Crawling through pipes in the dark while a battle raged beneath her, planting charges with a stopwatch precision, all so that she could drop a ceiling on the right people at the right moment. Not because she panicked. Not because she had no other option. Because it was the better plan. You people, I said slowly, planned this before we even attacked. Kofi pointed at me. There it is. He stood up, rolling his neck, looking entirely too comfortable. Here's the thing about human marines that the galaxy keeps getting wrong, he said. Everyone thinks we fight hard because we are brave. And sure, some of us are. Mako, for instance, our demolitions guy, he is genuinely fearless. Clinically, probably. But most of us? He shook his head. Most of us are scared out of our minds half the time. Yeva threw up before every single operation for the first 2 years of her career. Every single one. She still does sometimes. I stared at him. But she goes anyway, he continued. And while she goes, she thinks. That's the part nobody briefs for. You can measure how hard something hits. You can count how fast it moves. You cannot put a number on what happens when a frightened creature decides that being frightened is not a good enough reason to stop thinking. Somewhere behind the rubble, I heard Drovak calling my name. He was alive. Good. The sound of him, though, reminded me of where I was and what I had failed to do, and something in me sharpened. This changes nothing, I said. I got to my feet. My blade was still in my hand. Your team is 4 confirmed down. Your station is taken. Whatever Yeva does in the next few minutes, you and I are still standing in this corridor. Kofi looked at me. Then he looked at the blade. Then he looked back at me with the expression of a being who has done this particular calculation many times before and is not surprised by the result. You're right, he said. We are. He let the rifle slide off his shoulders into his hands. So let me finish what I was saying before we get into all this. I did not lower my blade. But I waited. Because Vreth-Kaal of the Sarati does not die without understanding what killed him. Every species the Sarati have fought, he said, his voice quieter now, steadier, had a breaking point. A moment where the math got too bad and the body said enough. You found it in the Velhari at Sector 9. You found it in the Drennik at the Oran Belt. You've been looking for hours since the war started. He tilted his head. You haven't found it yet. And I'll tell you why. He took one step forward. We don't have one. The words landed like something physical. Not because they were loud. Because they were said the way someone states a temperature or a distance. A plain fact, offered without decoration. We have a word, he continued. Aura. No translation exists for it in any language in this galaxy. Other species have heard it, run it through every linguistic processor available, and gotten nothing clean back. You know why? Because it doesn't mean a thing you can translate. It means that the math stopped mattering. It means the part of a human brain that does rational calculation has been told, politely but firmly, to sit down. It means we have already decided, and the deciding was the last step. Behind me, the rubble shifted. Drovak was getting through. Ahead of me, somewhere in the vents, Sergeant Yeva was doing whatever Sergeant Yeva does. Kofi and I looked at each other across 3 feet of scorched corridor, and for one very strange moment, I understood something no briefing had ever told me. I understood that this species had been losing ground, taking hits, watching stations fall, and absorbing every single loss without ever once producing the signal we were waiting for, the signal every species eventually produces. The signal that says, this is enough, we are finished, we accept the terms. It had never come. It was never going to come. You're not going to win this war, I said. Not cruelly. Almost carefully. Kofi smiled one last time. Smaller now. More tired. But still there. Neither are you, he said. The rubble broke open. Yeva dropped from the vent above. And Vreth-Kaal, decorated warrior of 43 campaigns, made the only tactically sound decision available to him in that corridor. He fought anyway. Because apparently, some things are contagious. Friends, if you are enjoying our videos and want to watch new and exciting sci-fi and HFY stories every day, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to turn on the bell icon so you never miss any of our latest uploads. Like the video and share it with your friends as well, so our community can continue to grow and bring you even more amazing content.